time for the confessions of a single Pringle. I woke up this morning with something to talk about for SeraphShares today, already in my mind, and I was like, great, I got an idea, good deal, because sometimes I really struggle to come up with an idea. All I had to do was just write it out and plan it. And then I remembered that today was Valentine's Day, and I should probably do something Valentine-y themed, right? So I started thinking about, what I wanted to talk about for that, what would be beneficial for people to hear, but also, what kind of unique perspective that I could personally bring, because after all, that's kind of the whole point of SeraphShares. Talk about my struggles in my life, and help you guys apply what I am learning to your lives, so we can all learn together. So today, we're going to be talking about why being single isn't so bad, and how you have to learn to be content on your own before you can ever be content with someone else. So for those of you that have been in a relationship before, I think we can all agree that they're a lot of work. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way necessarily. It can definitely be in a bad way if you're not in a healthy relationship. But even healthy relationships are a lot of work. Susie talks all the time about how relationships don't naturally get better, they naturally get worse. And that's completely true. What that means, though, is you have to devote a lot of time and energy into keeping a relationship healthy. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean work, as in like, I have to work. Point is, if you keep your relationship healthy from the start, you should want to and be happy to put in the work that is required. Some of you might be thinking right now, Seraph, you said you were going to talk about why being in a relationship isn't so bad, but all you've talked about so far is relationships. And I'd say you're right. But that was to show you that being in a relationship isn't all it's cracked up to be, right? We all see these cute couples that look so happy together, and most of them are. I just hit my mic, I'm sorry. Most of them are, but what you don't see is all the work that goes in behind the scenes. All the struggles they've been through and the hardships they've faced between just their own relationship, not even like financially or anything, but like within their own relationship. If you've never been in a relationship before, you're not really going to fully understand just how much work you have to put in to keep a relationship healthy. Because I definitely didn't until I had been in one and actually experienced it. But I only needed to be in one to know that it's a lot of work. And I barely scratched the surface of the extent of the work that goes into a relationship. Do I wish I had a special Pringle to share my life with? Yeah, of course. I mean, most people probably feel the same way. But I have to say that I am definitely enjoying the perks of being single. I understand that where I'm at right now may not be the best time for me to be in a relationship. And I thank God that, I can keep my schedule 90% open to devote to the God Squad, because there's a lot of work that needs to get done. You guys know I do a lot of media and graphics and videos and stuff for the ministry. But what you maybe don't know is how many times that I've stepped out of that zone to handle something that needed to be addressed. And I thank God so much for how he's utilized me in this ministry. And the reality is that if I was in a relationship that requires a lot of time and energy, I wouldn't have nearly as much time to devote to the ministry. Currently, I get to keep my schedule pretty open most of the time, and I can be there at the drop of the hat if something in the ministry needs my attention, whether it be media or otherwise. If I was in a relationship, that probably wouldn't be the case. I'd probably, be spending a lot of time with that person, and I wouldn't be as open as I am. I don't say all that to toot my own horn or anything. I'm telling you this because we have to learn to understand those benefits of singleness. If I was in a relationship, the ministry could take a hit as a result. I mean, I don't mean that in oh gosh, it's the end of the God Squad because Seraph's in a relationship, but I mean I wouldn't always be able to be there. So for the time being, I can live with the fact that I'm a single Pringle. But that leads me to my next point of interest in this discussion. Most people, me included, are longing for that special someone, right? And like I said, I am too. But oftentimes we get so caught up in looking for them that we end up putting wildly impossible expectations on them. It's easy to feel like finding a special someone is just going to make our life so much better, and that they're going to solve all our problems, and that we're not going to be complete until we find our special someone. It causes a lot of people to rush into relationships that aren't even right for them just because they're longing for somebody to share life. And there's nothing wrong with that by itself. There's nothing wrong with wanting somebody to share life with. It's something that most people want. And that's not bad. While I'm looking for that special Pringle, for sure, I'm also pretty content with where I'm at right now. Though I'll admit that wasn't the case for a long time. I'd say probably until recently. Past few months, maybe even as recently as that. I was chasing the idea of finding my special someone and just having life be 10 times better once I finally did, right? But we can't be so fixated on that we miss out on what we could be doing in the present. The reality is that even when we finally find our special someone, they're never going to fulfill us completely. They're not going to live up to those expectations that we're putting on them. When we aren't content without a special someone, we will never be content with a special someone. I'm going to say that again, because if you hear anything tonight, I want you to hear this right here, okay? So listen up. If you cannot learn to be content without a significant other, you will not be content with a significant other, because they are never going to completely fulfill you. Sometimes that special someone is called your other half, as if they're meant to complete you, and to an extent that's true, But you will never be able to truly appreciate them if you are looking to them to fulfill you. Because no matter how perfect they are for you, no matter how God-selected they are for you, there's always going to be someone who can give you so much more than they ever could. That someone that can give you more than they ever could is God. When we wish we had a shoulder to lie our head on, when we wish we had someone to count on in times of hardship, when we wish we had someone to share life with, God is there hoping you'll share life with Him. He will complete you, entirely. He will be someone you can count on. A significant other is going to let you down sometimes, but God will never let you go. We have to lean on God before we can lean on someone else. Otherwise, we're going to push them over because they can't support our weight. No human is ever going to be able to support you the way that God does. So if you're single Pringle, shout it out in the chat if you're a single Pringle. And you're looking for that special someone, chase after God first. If you do that, you're probably going to run into that special someone along the way, and they'll more than likely be running side by side with you to God. So those were the confessions of a single Pringle. Hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day or Singles Awareness Day, whichever you prefer. If you guys learned something this week, feel free to share it. I'd love to hear about it. Doesn't have to be Valentine's related, but share the wisdom, because I know y'all got some. But that's going to wrap it up for this week on SeraphShares.